Hi, everybody. Welcome to another episode with Second Front. Today, we'll try to describe to you our process and how we record the music. It's actually pretty involved. Uh, any of you who's written or composed any music, it's hard enough just to just to come up with the music, but then to record it is another totally different thing. And so, what I primarily use, I'll just go ahead and start off. Iggy, hi Iggy, how you doing?
Hey,
Say
I'm
hi,
good.
everybody. Yeah. But anyway, what I usually start off with is, I'll come up with the song. I'll either write it on guitar, mostly guitar, because I'm too lazy to go to my piano. So I always have a guitar around with me. So I'll come up with a melody there, and then what I will do is I'll sit down in front of the computer, start up the Logic Pro, which is the DAW that I use, and I just start building tracks on it. So I'll probably hum a melody, and then I'll try and maybe set a meter, and then I will go ahead and do a drum track. Drum track is always first for me because that's one of the hardest things, and it gives me a little bit more of a mood and a rhythm to follow. So I'll do that, and then I'll just pile on whatever instruments that I want to do. I'll do either strings or orchestrations or piano or and vocals usually come in last because I can't sing
Hey,
anyway.
so when you're doing that your drum thing, you
Yeah.
got like a click track you're following, or
Yeah, well, yeah, but usually what it is, I do. And the first thing I do is when I build drums, I actually do bass first and snare. So it's just boom, da, ba, boom, da, ba, or boom, boom, whatever it's going to be, and then I'll just add the hi hat later, and then I'll add cymbals, and then I'll change the hi hat with these little accents, like the hi hat lifts, psst, something like that, something dumb like that.
well, you're also not using a real drum set or a kit or
Yeah. Unfortunately, I'm using my fingers, which makes it a little hard. So I would have to try and quantize it because I would be off time. But that's why I'm really looking forward to getting our friend Milt involved because he's an actual drummer. And so, it's just going to be so much easier for me. But then it's going to sound even awesome because we actually have a real drummer doing this stuff and rudiments and stuff like that. So, hopefully we're going to get that thing. Well, I'll get a file out to him eventually. So we'll try and do as much as we can, as fast as we can on that. But anyway, so once I finish up all the tracking, I will send the file, which is basically just vocals, guitars, whatever instrument, bassless, and I'll send it over to Iggy, and it's usually either a WAV file or it's either an MP4. It's just something to actually listen to and create, and from that, I'll go ahead and turn it over to Iggy, see what his process is once you
wow,
receive the file.
that sounds easy.
Yeah, yeah,
And
it,
you
it
always
is.
and you just asked me the other day, go, hey, why don't you write a song? I can't even, I can barely do what I'm doing now with just a bass. So I don't even know I don't even know how you do it, but yeah, so you're right. You just send me, what do you say? You send me all kinds of different things. You sent me one. Sometimes you'll send me. Here's what you'll send me. You'll send me a track, sometimes with the bass, which is good, like scratch bass on there, and then you'll send me a file without the bass. Sometimes you'll send me the kick and a snare, which I like because I like to kind of hear it, especially if the song's really busy. I want to hear that. Um, that's pretty much it. And I stick it in my DAW, which I just use GarageBand. I don't want to use anything.
Yeah.
I don't want to use Logic. I got enough issues in my life, so I don't want to learn anything new. The thing I like about Logic, though, is you can group tracks. You can't do that in a
in GarageBand.
GarageBand.
I
You
can't
can't do
even
it.
work. I can't even work GarageBand. So
Really? Yeah,
I don't even know how to work that
I
thing.
could barely work. It works great. I mean, it does everything I need it to do. And what I do is, I reuse the same I don't know project every time. I just rename the file. I remove all the other music and drum tracks and all my stuff in there. It's barren, and then I just add your stuff in there. So I've got the bassless track. I got the track with the bass. I get that, then I got a drum track. Then I have a separate DI track. I go through my little Rupert Neve DI, my RNDI one,
Hmm.
which it goes right into my what do I got? What do I got? A focus right.
Hmm.
Um,
Audio
two I
interface.
2i2, I think it is. Yeah, that's channel one, and then I split the unbalance out of the DI, and I go through my compressor, and then I color it in my Mark Bass preamp. That's for me because I don't like listening to the DI because it's just
Yeah,
nasty. It's
you don't feel
nasty.
you don't get that creative juices going if it just
Nah,
sounds like
it's gross. To me,
might
I need to compress it.
as well listen to Morse code.
Yeah, I know. So I have to compress it. So, but once I get that, then I start. It's, a lot of times you will send me the chart, which is cool. I got all the chords in there, no standard notation or anything, just the
What we mean by
chords.
chart is basically the root note. Let's say that the song is written in D. I'll send D and then 4 beats underneath, so it'll be a 4 and then 4 beats underneath it, and that's basically the chart. There's no notation. It's
Yeah,
just
just good. It's okay.
like I
I
don't
like, yeah.
I can't
What I
read
used to
that.
do with the music, and I used to actually use Guitar Pro, and I used to do the standard notation so I could see I do the rhythm and all that stuff on there, but it's just too much work. But so I get all that from you. Sometimes I'll get the chart, sometimes I don't. It's good to get the chart. But the last song you sent me, you just
Nothing.
sent me
I just sent you the
uh
song.
the song without the bass. I was like, here,
Exactly.
I was like, what is this? What's the key? What is the key? Because the key is really important if you're going to write a chart. So so what I do is I use the circle of fifths. Right.
Circle of
So
fifths.
I know. If you're into kind of indie music, you've probably heard of the circle of fifths. I mean, it's kind of a bizarre thing. I think Bach was using the circle of fifths, but
Right.
I don't know. You can share my screen here, but I do have the circle of fifths here. It's just that little circle.
Right.
Um,
I'll pull it up.
it's Yeah, there it is. All right, yeah, the circle of fifths. But what's odd about the circle of fifths is it can be done in a chart, which I used to do in a chart, and I actually screwed it up once, and I had the wrong notes in there, so it went just bad. But really, the circle of fifths has uh, every note if you're going to use a keyboard
Uh-huh.
chromatically on the keyboard, you include the black keys, but it circles around the right. So the outer circle's really your key to your song, or like you might have a key in the bridge might be different. The chorus might have a different key, so you got to kind of look for that. But usually it's in a chart, but when you don't supply me a chart, I got to go through this. On the inner ring are the minor
It's all on
keys.
purpose too.
Yeah, well, that's okay. But yeah, so that's kind of cool because I still use the circle on a fifths when you send me a chart because I want to kind of validate what you're doing. And it's Western style music, it's not
So
Middle
basically,
Eastern music or anything.
looking at the circular chart, let's say that my
Yeah,
song starts in D. So when I'm looking at the letter D here on the
yeah.
outer ring,
Let me go back.
everything in the inner ring there, like the B major, F, or is that minor? I don't even
Those
know.
are a
B
minor
minor,
inner.
yeah, those are
Yeah.
minors. I don't know. I don't know how to read notes, which is I hate, and that's the reason why it's so difficult to do it
Well,
this way. But
you
anyway,
started out
it
as a
works.
drummer, didn't you?
Yeah, I did. I was actually a
Yeah.
drummer, but I don't even know how to read rhythm. I'm just lazy. That's
Yeah.
all.
So if like you said, the D, if the song
Yeah.
is a D minor, you're gonna select that D in the chart.
Yes.
I'll usually print them out. I'll draw a circle on it. Go, man, that's my key.
Uh huh.
If I'm like an A minor key,
Uh
I'll put a
huh.
circle around it. So that's where I start. Um, but the thing is trying to find that key. That inner is the minor. And what's interesting about the circle of fifths, don't quote me on this, but what I understand about the circle of fifths is starting at the middle C. If you see at the top,
Yes.
you got 5 intervals that take you to the G and take you to the D and so on and
Yes.
so forth. So if you do 5 intervals going to the right on a keyboard, you'll end back up at C. Circles. So that's why the circle of fifths, because there's intervals to the right and fifths. But if you go to the left, counterclockwise, it's
Yeah.
intervals of 4. So I have no idea. I don't even want to know why that happens.
It's
But
because it's probably because of that B flat, the B I don't know, the B key. I think I have a feeling that's what it's all about.
Yeah,
I
so
don't know.
it's really interesting. So I don't wrap my mind around this thing that much, but yeah. And so really, when I get your music like this last song, I'll show. I have to find the key, and that's kind of fun, because and the thing is, what I do is I will use all these little tools, and I'll just noodle around. So what I'll do on GarageBand is I'll do a loop, like I'll loop the intro,
Yeah, oh,
and just loop
yeah,
the intro or loop the verse, and I'll just go back and I'll play triads, pentatonics until they sound like it fits. So if I like play an A minor pentatonic throughout the verse, if it sounds good throughout the verse, it's probably an A minor key. But if it sounds weird, one of the chords sound weird, then I'll go move to you know a B minor pentatonic. I'll just start noodling around till I find something. But usually, the first chord and the last chord in the like a verse,
mm.
that's gonna define the key, because it's got to resolve. If it doesn't resolve, there's something weird going on. But so I mean, I just gotta hear it. So I mean, I got my ear sucks, so I have to use these tools. But that's what I do. I'll just noodle around, find the key,
That's
and once I
amazing.
find a key, I got it. But like you got to be careful because some of sometimes your songs will modulate like in the bridge. It'll be a different
Yes,
key. So I gotta find that too. So that's
I don't follow theory. I don't follow
well,
anything.
the thing is, your music. If you don't follow that theory, that's why I like using the circle fifths because I could see that you did. So that's actually pretty good because a lot of people will use this to write music, but
I
I validate your stuff using this. So
yeah,
the
if I
song.
could, that's right. That's the
Yeah,
one
so
that
the
I
song "If I Could," that's the one you sent me.
in
You
A.
just sent me a track without the bass, and that was
Right,
it. No, and
exactly.
I said, "What key is it?" And he said, "Oh, I have no idea."
I don't know.
Yeah, what is that?
I don't even know what note I'm playing on the guitar. That's just such a
Yeah,
problem.
that's why I ask you. Sometimes I'll ask you, "Is that a C major 7?" What the hell is that?
What the hell?
It's just,
I don't know what that is.
so so I find the key. I found the key. So the nice thing about "If I Could," it was all in A minor throughout the whole thing, so it didn't
Yeah.
modulate. And so what's cool about finding that key is all the notes around it are important. Like if I look at the minor ring,
Mm-hmm.
that's a relative minor of that key. So
Mm-hmm.
it- it- so let's say I was in the key of A minor, and she's at the
Mm-hmm.
top there. Opposite of that is C
Me.
major. That's
Yeah.
the relative major of that minor key. So it's
Okay.
interesting. So if you play that C major scale, all those notes in that C major scale are used in that A minor scale, except it starts on a different root. It's a different root, but it's the same key, same notes, which is really bizarre. That's what's cool about this circle of fifth because it's everything's kind of mathematical and scientific, but it sounds right. So that's important, that relative minor, which is important. So what's important with finding the key is I can see all the chords that work in your song, and I actually was able to validate this. And you use these chords in your song, so you like on the outer ring, the minor um, chords that I can use in the with the key of A in your song. That would be
Uh-huh.
the 1 4 5 progression.
Yeah,
That
one,
1 4 5. It's on the
one,
outside.
4, 5 on the outside.
Yeah, it's on the
Two,
inside. It would be a 2 6
two, 6, 3.
2 6 3. Need my glasses, but yeah. So, but if you look at those are all the available chords that you can use that make your song sound like a
A
normal
song. A
Western
song.
kind of song. That's jazz or yeah. But you notice that if you play that A major scale, there's 7 notes in there, right? There's a
Right.
seventh in there, right? Seventh and then
Yes,
the
there
eighth.
is a
Final,
seventh in there.
the seventh, but I don't show the seventh. But the seventh is this little stepchild sitting hanging off the side there, and that's what they call a diminished chord. All the rest of them are They all have the perfect fifth. Yeah, all those 1 through 6 all have a perfect fifth in the
So
chord.
you have this chart each time you're deciphering one of my songs or one of the songs.
Yeah, if I want to find the key, then once I get the key, I get the little cluster all around it. And
So
that's
it would be
those
easier for me just to send you the root of the song, the key,
the
root,
key.
the
Oh
root.
yeah, if you know the key of the song, then I should fairly that should be good enough information. So if you wrote standard notation and you showed the sharps and flats, right? That would tell me the key too. So if you have like 3 flats or 2 sharps, that would tell me the key. I couldn't tell you off the top of my head what that means, but yeah. And so that diminished chord, that number 7, it's not used. It's not useful. At least I know of in popular music. So usually just forget it. And so that's it right there. That's those are the progressions I could use. So this is something there's big screw up. There's a lot of screw ups in here. So let me get my glasses. But yeah, so I can't even spell the word verse. It's that bad. But so this I find the progression, which is actually there's some mistakes in here. Then I found some flat chords and some sharp chords, and so I had to make a decision. Do I want to go all sharp or flat? Because you have to do that. You can't have mix flats and sharps,
Yeah,
although
yeah.
they're the same, right? So I got some of those crossed out. Actually, looking for modes when I do that. So really, so when I'm playing with your music, I'll just play whole notes or eighth notes. I don't worry
In
about
the
the
big
rhythm
in the beginning,
in the
right?
beginning. Yeah, and then
And
I'm
then
gonna,
you'll embellish it right after.
yeah, and I'll just look for so I if I'll look for I'll start looking for like these modes, right? The seven modes of the C major scale, which helps color the song. But I don't want to overdo it because you can overdo it. But modes are kind of cool. I mean, if you look at oh, Kashmir. Kashmir. That song, that sound in Led
Was that
Zeppelin's
was that
Kashmir.
a what's it Aeolian? What is the other
No,
one?
that's I believe it's a D Mixolydian. I mean, if
Lydian.
you did play that D Mixolydian in Kashmir, it wouldn't sound like you'd probably call it Atlantic City because they have a different sound. I mean, that mode just makes it so much different. But
It sound like a country western song
it
instead.
would. It would sound like something come out of Nashville. But yeah,
Nothing nothing
yeah,
wrong about country western songs.
no,
I'm just
no.
saying
Well, you
it
did.
just wouldn't sound like Kashmir.
Yeah. So this is what I do. I'm down on the bottom. I got a little square around that G. I'm going to talk about that, but
Uh
that's it. So I start with that. I end up with this. I print this. I actually use
holy sh-
an app called iReal Pro, which is cool because I can build this
I
and
put you through all of this
it'll
each
play
time.
it. Then I can chart this on my own, and you can see, I've got the minors and all that stuff in there, and I got the modes. I don't play a mode there, but I might, because I go, oh, this feels like there's a mode in here because I don't want to color your song. You've got to, because that changes the mood, right? So that's why I always ask you, yeah,
What style?
yeah, what style or what kind
What
of
artist
artist?
do you think?
Yeah,
Yes.
yeah. So then I can, yeah, if I
No,
have to do
there's no style.
no style, no
There's
artist
no
exists.
style.
But if there's somebody from the Berkeley School of Music looking at this, and they're probably like robots or machines, they could probably see something like this. Say, oh, there's a mistake, and there is a mistake in here. And uh, so I recorded my tracks with rhythm, and now when I record on GarageBand, I want to do one shot because I don't like punching in because I just don't like doing it. So if I mess up, I'll just start over again and re-record. But sometimes I'll punch in because I'm not good at it. But I just recorded the whole thing. But so I recorded this, but there was a weird thing that occurred. Oh, yeah, before I go there, I just wanted to show you this.
Hmm.
All right, so if I go back to, I got to show you this my little chart here.
Yeah.
That G doesn't belong in that cluster, with the A major key, and that G is outside of that little cluster of 6
That's right.
available progressions,
You're right.
and they call that the
Secondary subdominant,
yeah, the
right?
subdominant. So I think they call those accidentals. But now you're moving away from the key, and what the problem with that is, it's okay to play those. Have those. I mean, you can even go further to the left if you want. You can go to
The
a
beef,
B
B,
flat.
yeah, B,
But
yeah.
if you go to like an E flat, that's really tough. That probably sounds pretty crappy. But if you dive outside of that cluster of 6 um, chord progressions,
Hmm.
now you have to always recenter the sound and always go back. So if you're going to
You have
do
to resolve. You have to resolve
you
it.
got to resolve it, otherwise it'll sound bizarre. So you actually did that, and it resolved. And so it's the using like those secondary subdominant or that secondary dominant or anything to the left or clockwise, you got to resolve. But that's a good way of I think they call those like pivot chords. So if you want to go to a pivot to the bridge
Ooh.
or what have you, or come out of the bridge, you can use some of those accidentals that lie outside of that.
I did that all in person, on purpose.
Oh, I know.
I
It's like,
did
oh God,
that.
he's actually good. But yeah, so that's cool. You dove out of there, but the problem is you got to jump back in,
I
right?
gotta jump back in, yeah.
That A
Relatively
key.
soon too, or else it's gonna
Oh yeah,
sound
I
like
was like, what the hell is that?
what the
So
hell
that
is it?
A is kind of like a magnet, man. It wants you to come back.
Get
But
back, yeah.
so that's what I did. So those are those secondary subdominants that you stuck in there. You're so good at music. You stuck those in there, but you resolved back to that D major down there, which is pretty cool. But there was a mistake. So I did this for you. I sent it to you, and the one thing I noticed in this thing, there was one measure in there in the verse that to me didn't sound right. I go, man, what is this? This didn't sound right to me. And so I sent you something I thought sounded right.
Yeah,
And
I
within
see.
minutes, you sent it back, said, hey, man, that's as soon as you said, hey, dude, that second measure, I knew exactly. I go, yeah, I screwed that second. So if I look at that second measure in that verse, it's a C major. And if I look at
Uh-huh.
the circle of fifths on the right side, that's outside of my cluster, right? So
Yeah, failed.
I failed it, man. I violated
You
I
violated the trust
violated the trust of the
of
circle.
circle.
Man, the thing's like a machine. You can't mess with
You
this
can't
thing.
mess with it. Yeah,
So
well,
I originally recorded with a C sharp or a D flat,
yeah,
whatever, same
it
thing.
was a C sharp, I think
C
it's you
sharp or a
had it.
D flat, and I fixed it, and I re-recorded the whole thing. I didn't punch it in, so I re-recorded the whole thing, and and then boom, I changed it to C sharp. I'm now that what's that? That three chord,
Yeah.
the minor three, and
You're within the circle now. You're
yeah.
in the
So I
six.
came back to this. I came back to the circle. I trust the circle. So,
Yeah.
so I like using this. Even when you give me the key, I'll still use this just to
Just to check me.
scrutinize. Not to check you, but it also
Well, that's good. I mean that then I should trust my ear a little bit more because
you
that's all
should.
I'm using. That's all I use.
Oh yeah.
I
I
don't
mean,
have this.
I think people use this to write music, but I don't know. Then I just want to make sure I find the minor keys and all this so I can apply the triads correctly. Or a lot of times I'll try to do a slash chord, which is cool. You play the melody,
Yeah, and
on
then
a keyboard. Then
you'll
I'll
do
do
like a like a counter melody or a,
yeah. No, I'll play the bass. I'll play the third or the fifth instead of the root. So that's a first or a second inversion. It
yeah.
also
You did
called.
that to one of our first songs. It was I think Dark Water. I think it was
Yeah, I don't know, but
it was
back
one
then
of
I don't think I
those.
even knew what I was doing.
I
So
said, "Wow, he's in a completely different key that I
yeah,
expected
I
him to
think I
be."
screwed that up.
No, it was good. I was
But
actually really. I said, "Wow, this thing has just changed the whole feel of the song."
yeah, but I don't want to do that too much because it's because I know you have an idea, but yeah, but doing a slash chord is really subtle, especially if you stick to the third and the fifth, do that first and second inversion.
Oh
But
my
didn't do
god!
any in here. But I like that secondary subdominant thing. I think it's cool because if you listen to it, if you did some other, you know, one of the one of the progressions that are valid for that A major, it'd be completely different song. So that's kind of cool that you have
Exactly. Yeah.
that subdominant. But that's cool. But that's it right there. Those are the major 1 4 5 and the minor. What's that? 2 3 2 3 2 3
Two
6.
3 6.
Yeah.
No.
The A. Yeah.
2 3 6. Yes.
Yeah.
2 3 6.
So that's what I like using. And so that's and one thing which is really cool is what people call the money chord, or some people call it the golden chord progression, right? And that's the 1 5 1 5 6 4, and that's that little T. You can see that little T shape right there. That's
Yeah.
you got the
Yeah.
key
1
is
5
the
6
A.
4. Yep.
And they get that classic 1 5 1 4 5 major, or the major chords.
Ah.
But you're in good company because there's a ton of songs. There's probably thousands of songs that use that same chord progression. If I Could is a little different. I think there's a 6 in there.
Yeah,
But,
I added something bizarre in
Yeah,
there.
there's a
I think
6
it was
in
a
there.
mistake actually, but then it sounded good to me, so
It's in there.
keep it.
It's in that. It's a valid chord in the progression. So did a good job.
Wow, that's pretty cool.
Somebody's leaving. But yeah, that's cool. That's what I do. And That's it. I send you the stuff. But I also, what do? Before I send it to you, I flex time. I go.
Yeah.
I look at it. You know, all the transients in the bass notes, and I move them forward or move. I'm usually pretty early on the beat, which sucks.
So basically, what flex time does is aligns the note to the timeline on GarageBand.
No, I'll align it to the transient of the kick drum.
Oh, that's the reason why you really want a separate track for kick drum, because
I like it. Sometimes it makes it easier to do that.
I also noticed that you create around what the kick drum is actually doing, which is pretty cool, because then because it actually boosts the beat even more. You know, it brings it out.
Yeah, I try.
Which is pretty cool.
Hard.
Yes, I mean, again, you can listen to Hey, and you know it's all over the place, but that everybody does. You know, whoever comment on that song always talks about the bass and the beat.
Yeah,
the bass and the beat. I mean, I love that song because of that. So,
but I had to adjust. I had to make lots of adjustments. I literally look at every kick drum transient and I adjust. So it's a lot of work. So when I screwed this one song up, if I could, with the wrong chord in the verse, I had to redo it. I had to readjust everything.
Really?
Yeah.
Oh my God.
But
well, I'll say it's easy for me, guys. All I have to do is just come up with something and lay it down. I don't go through all of this stuff.
Well, which is kind of amazing, you know. And yeah, I mean, that's why I like using the circle of fifths, just to make sure
it works.
You're in line with everything.
Yeah,
and you see those.
It really works.
It does. It works, man. I when I first saw the circle of fifths, I go, "What in the hell is this?" Just like modes. Like, what the hell am I getting? What's a mode? But yeah, wow. I'm addicted to the circle of fifths. Which is you should try it, man. I don't know.
I don't even. Here, let me give you my knowledge here. If I played this right here like this, I don't even know what note that is. I don't know. I mean, if I'm in a different position than these things with the squares on it.
Oh, jeez.
I mean, I know is that an A? I think that's an A. That's an A, right? So, but if I'm over here, okay, so what's below A? It takes me a while. It's an F. Is it an F? Is that F? No, this is an F, right? I don't know what this is.
Well, then how do you write a chart?
I have to go to the piano and I play this, and I'm going. Oh, that's what it is. That.
Okay.
I mean, it sounds so elementary, but that's how just dumb I am. I don't even know why I have a mental block like that, because my teacher, because I tried to actually learn how to read notes in college, and my teacher just told me, you rely on your ears so much that you're screwed. And I am. Because I was actually able to fake it. I mean, I was playing all these pieces. I was like 3 months in the class already, and I still didn't know how to read. And he finally, just the way he checked me, is one morning I was in there in the morning, and then I was just playing around. He just threw me a piece of sheet music and play that.
Oh.
Can you play it for me first one time? And he goes, no, I want you to play that right now. That was it. I just didn't know how. So, yeah, I'm kind of messed up like that. It would have our life would be easier if I could actually know how to chart. But I really leave it up to Iggy, because as you can see, he's pretty much got it under control. Yeah, I'm really impressed with this, because mathematically, I guess it does work.
It's cool. Yeah, I like it. And there's so much other stuff in this thing that is mind blowing. And I don't want to talk about it because I'll probably get it wrong and somebody might say something about it, but I'm just very basic with it, and thing's awesome.
We'll study up on it, and then we'll talk about it later. But
yeah, I like to see one episode here where you said, "Hey, I did this song, and based upon the circle of fifths."
Oh God. I don't even know which note I'm playing, let alone I'm going to use the circle of fifths. Oh God. Anyway,
Yeah.
That
So
that's
that's
really
it for me,
interesting.
man. And I just send it to you, and hopefully, and you do your. What do you? And when you get my bass, what do you? My
I
you
get
get you
I
take, but you I send you two, right? I send
yes,
you the reamp, which goes through my compressor and my preamp,
right. He gives me like kind of like an idea of how he wants the bass sounding like,
which is not good.
which is usually, well, because of the quality that's coming across, I kind of lose it. So when I get his file, I do convert it from his garage band into a wave file, or even sometimes MP4, but I do change it over to a wave file, and then I put it in Logic, and then it's basically I'm just using his DI file, just a direct signal. It's basically a signal coming in, and then I'll amp it because I have amp designers within Logic. Logic is such a great tool. I mean, I tried Pro Tools. I'm too dumb with that, but Logic, I will never leave. And because we have a lot of good software that mimics a lot of the microphones, a lot of speakers,
Mhm.
amplifiers and stuff like that. So I'll listen to his bass, and depending on the style, I'll put a tone, and then I'll add that in, and then there it is. And I was able to finally figure out how to compress his bass to make it actually stand out a lot more. If you listen to the first album that we did, which is 2020, which is MMXX. Is it yeah, MMXX in Roman numerals. You won't hear the bass as prominent because I didn't know how to mix the bass back then. But then for the second album, which is Out of the Box, I was able to finally figure out how to get his bass out there, and it actually sounds pretty cool. I mean, again, I get a lot of comments from people who've listened to our music, and they do mention Iggy's bass, his bass playing, because it's a lot more prominent, and it's actually very melodic. I've always bragged about him that he's a very melodic bass player. And it's not like the usual bass person who just goes doon 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 doon, and it's just boring, But
Which
he's
I actually
actually
kind of want to do more.
no,
I actually want
no,
to make it
no.
very simple, more simple.
He's almost like, if you listen to Paul McCartney. I mean, yeah, he's Beatles. He's awesome, but they really didn't look at his bass playing. But this man, that man can play. He's very melodic in his bass. You know, and of course Iggy wants to be like Bootsy Collins.
Yeah, right. Yeah, Paul McCartney was. Yeah, I think he's was underrated as a bass player.
Underrated as a
Unless
bass
you
player.
if you
Yeah,
isolate him, it's like, oh, okay, this guy's
yeah, he's
pretty good.
yeah, he's really awesome. Anyway, guys, I want to thank you all for joining us today. That was a nice lesson in the circle of fifths, and I really didn't realize how much torture I put Iggy through whenever I send him a song. But hey, he loves it.
I like it. When you don't send a chart, I go, oh, cool, no chart.
Oh God.
But
I
I did screw it up, right? I had a failure.
I should at least give you the key. I mean, I shouldn't be that lazy to be able to not figure it out. So
I'm still gonna check
yeah, I know you're gonna check. That's fine.
because you might modulate. So I mean, I gotta go find.
I,
You
I'm
might.
gonna I'm gonna come up with some progressive song that just completely just doesn't make any sense with the rules, and it'll
I bet
it'll
it. I bet it
it'll
will.
finalize. It'll finalize.
Oh, I bet it will. It will comply with the circle of fifths.
Well, we'll see about that.
Oh, we'll see.
Anyway, again, if you guys have any questions, concerns, comments regarding even the circle of fifths, you can send us an email if you have any questions. I'm sure Iggy will answer. I will forward any questions that you have regarding the circle of fifths, because this is very interesting. It's mathematical,
Yeah,
and
it's cool.
it's amazing that it actually works. So again, thank you for your time. Sorry we went a little bit longer as usual, but I guess we're going to just do a 1 hour webcast. But oh well. Anyway, it's fun. It's all in fun.
It's good. Can't stop talking. Yeah. It's it's so easy to talk sometimes or talk too much.
Well, yeah, that's another thing too. But I mean, as you can see, we're unscripted. We just want to go with whatever flows. So, anyway, again, thanks everyone, and we will see you in the next episode, hopefully soon. I'm gonna say bye.
All right.
All right,
See
you
you
take
guys.
care, everybody. Bye
All
bye.
right. Bye.